Alrighty, I'm back. It's 10 after 8. We are in Steamboat. It is September 11th. Getting ready to head over to Fraser via Rand. I could go through Kremling. I don't typically like that route. I haven't done it in quite a while though. But I like the freight. I like going through Rand. It's I think 7 more miles to go through Rand, but it's usually quicker, which is kind of a funny thing because because there are a lot of roads that over. Yeah, probably wants to get on over. Oh, maybe not. Okay, maybe. Getting out of Steamboat. This is really super early fall. We are in just the earliest stages of things changing. I saw a couple trees last week. Now there are a couple more trees changing. You can see the yellow. Maybe you can see some of the yellow in these trees as we go by. That might be a tough proposition at this point in time. So the walking trail in Steamboat goes quite a ways. It's actually over to our right presently. Then it goes for maybe another half of a mile this way. And it crosses underneath here. It's really cool and goes up towards the ski hill. I used to enjoy riding. I'd take my bike here and just go ride on it. Back before you had to wear a helmet or you could get fined. I won't come over here and do that anymore. So I've been watching my sister's videos lately, and she's really, I mean, it's cool, you know, she comes up with different things. I kind of like the format she has. I give her crap about it. I tease her somewhat about it because she has this, well, I just pick on her. I say she has this obsessive urge to show her scary face in her videos. And so to that end, she has 2 cameras now. And she keeps a small clip, a small video up in one corner so you can see her talking. And she keeps her large video, you know, the scenery. I mean, so you have these 2 videos. So that's pretty cool. I like she's got that set up that way. And so I've been watching her. And I have noticed, though, Sue, that you do not preview your videos. You are letting them go before you watch them thoroughly. And I watch them closer than she watches them, apparently, because it's great to watch them, you know. It's fun to see her videos. By the way, her channel is Woman at the Wheel, YouTube. Anyway, the first video that I caught where I could tell she's not paying attention to her editing, or she's not double checking it. Her little screen and her big screen went out of sync really bad. So she would be talking and you could tell that it was messed up. Then she fast forwarded the big screen, and I'm not sure if the little screen was fast forwarded or not, but when she quit fast forwarding the big screen, the little screen was fast forwarding now. And so now she's driving along at regular speed on her big screen, but her little screen is fast forwarding. And then it changed. She pulled over on the side of the road. I think she was checking her hitch or something. She had two trailers at the time from Manhattan, Kansas. She was checking her hitch. So she got out of her truck and walked around the front of it on the big screen. On the little screen, she was still driving. It was really funny. And I mentioned that to her on her video, commented, and she didn't really respond to me, like I was being silly. So I left an explanation there. I replied to her reply, and then apparently she deleted my reply, or maybe I never did post it. Whatever it was, I'm not sure. But anyway, she is she's having some growing pains as far as that goes. And her latest video, which was a really cool video, where she took the last trailer down to I can't think of the town down in South Texas anyway. At the end of it, her big video quit about 8 minutes before her little video quit, and her little video was frozen. And so that's what, so our video stopped like roughly 10 minutes before it should have stopped, but it was still there and running. And if you watch that, you've seen that. But if you haven't watched her channel, definitely go check her channel out. I mean, it's really neat what she does. It's a really cool thing that she is doing, and she'll get her bugs worked out of this new system. I don't have as many bugs, but I don't really change things too much, and I've got them kind of set where I want them. So that's how I deal with how I deal with my technology, right? But anyway, yeah, so if you haven't watched her channel, 1 Minute to Wheel, you need to watch it. It's pretty cool. So this is rabbit ears when it's not all covered with snow. This is rabbit ears. It might be pretty up here, and we might be a little bit early, but it's worth a shot. We'll go ahead and check it out. This new windshield is interesting. It's got some sort of film on it that I think is a heat reflecting film. The other windshield, the one that was all beat up, I think it was a pretty damn cheap windshield. I got it at basically the end of the COVID stuff, where there was not a good selection of windshields, so I'm assuming the windshield that I got was of the poorest quality, because it chipped like nothing. I mean, it was really bad how badly it chipped. And when I would get into the sun, this car would just heat up incredibly quickly. And I've noticed with this windshield, if I'm in the sun, I feel the sun, but it's not the same thing. Not nearly as dramatic of a difference. This is kind of a neat machine that's been sitting here for a while. One of the old snow machines. I think that's a snow machine, anyway. a snow removal machine, for the highway. Now there's a guy that has watched some of my stuff. I can't think of his name right now, but he was commenting that when he was a kid, they would take the original switchback road. I would love to have seen that road. This is a pretty nice highway that they put in. And occasionally you can see some of the old highway, but apparently, and I've seen some of it, it was a real switchbacky, hell of a road before they fixed this. I think it's gone through 2 upgrades, because when we first moved up to northwestern Colorado, I was a kid, and Rabbit Ears, I believe that the roadway is where it's at, except for the other side. The eastern side of Rabbit Ears was real twisty and curvy, like some switchbacks down at the bottom of it. But they've eliminated all of that. And in a way, I'm sad about that, because that was really a neat drive with those switchbacks and the really tall trees, the forest. Just beautiful. But I guess not safe, So in case you're wondering, if I go up this hill and try to stay at 50, I have to actually go up it at about 45. I can't, this car just doesn't have the gearing or the power to run it at that speed. So I have to get up a little bit higher RPM into a better power band in this car. So I'm running it a few miles an hour over, not much. But if I don't do that, I have to run it several miles an hour under. And so what's worse, I'm not sure. I was watching YouTube this weekend, and an old TV show back when I had cable that I really liked popped up. I saw it somewhere. I'm like, maybe I don't know. It just popped up. But the show, the program, was sort of a cops inspired show called Jail. I say show, I guess program, whatever. You know what I mean. And where cops shows cops out in the field, back when cops could arrest people, right? And you watch Cops. I'm sure you've watched Cops, right? If you haven't, go watch an episode. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so Cops gets you to that point where they take him and put him in a car, and that's pretty much it. Sometimes they'll continue it, but Jail starts as the inmates are brought in to the facility, and they're going through their processing and their booking and whatever, and their detox, whatever it happens to be. That was a real interesting show to me. So I would watch that about 10 years ago, back when I didn't, back when I still had old-fashioned cable. What's getting cold up here? Sure. Anyway, then another channel popped up called Red Tree Crimes. And this was a show that focused on the interrogations of people that were the police were suspicious they had committed a crime, and so they were interrogating them. And I have this image of myself as like I'm not really a very good person, but I'm not a terribly bad person, I don't think. But I wish I wouldn't have done a lot of the bad things that I did. However, when I watch this show and I see these people that do really, really bad things, not just like breaking the speed limit or being, mad at somebody or whatever. I'm a lightweight. I don't do that, the big evil stuff. Most people don't. And watching the police interrogate some of these people who are quite literally monsters was very freaky, to say the least. It was incredibly interesting, but it left me feeling really weird. I had to stop watching. I sort of binge watched these because it was such a shock, that these people think the way they do. And the way that it works is that there's a narration talking about what the detectives know, and they are when they're properly interrogating a suspect, they know the answer to the question that they're asking. So they know they're getting lied to or strongly suspected. And but they continue along like they don't know, to be emphatic, to be friends with the person, to get them to open up. And it typically works, but sometimes it doesn't work. And there are some really evil people out there. I did not understand that. I did not understand how evil some people could be. But we all have the capacity for it. I mean, like the saying I like to use is everything's permissible, but not everything is advisable. That certainly applies in this situation. It's like, yeah, you can do that, but why in the hell would you? So if you want to scare yourself straight, if you haven't seen this channel, maybe you'll feel a little better about yourself, but a little bit less confident of the rest of the world, kind of. That's how I came away. I felt, well, gee, I'm not as bad as I thought. And the world is not nearly as safe as I thought it was. Yeah, watch that Red Tree Crime YouTube channel. Good grief. So I extrapolated out of that. I was thinking about that and the evil that are in people's hearts and the fight that us conservatives have with the left. And I've mentioned it before. When I talk about politics, I'm not instigating at anything. I am defending. I am stating a position that I'm under attack by. And I'm not starting anything. You would think I'm starting it because I start talking about it, but that is an illusion. I am actually defending a position, and most people know this. And all the people on the left know it. Most people on the right know it, but not everyone. So when I'm talking about politics, I'm not trying to stir anything up. I'm trying to have my say, to defend my position, which the left is effectively shut everyone down. By the way, if you're noticing, there's a brownish character and a reddish character coming on up here, really beautiful. In the last couple of weeks, this has been really, really green up here. But now we're getting into these early fall colors. And it's basically in the oak brush and the willows and the grass on the side of the road. But I digress. But that's beautiful. I love that. I love that color. Fall is just so gorgeous. Every day is different. Every day is beautiful. And I've talked to Sue about this because occasionally she'll talk about politics on her channel, but she doesn't like to. And we have people that watch our channels that don't agree with us, but yet we still like them, right? So I think Sue is thinking about that, but she's trying to stay away from that. Now, maybe she's trying to make money, because that's really, if you want to make money, you've got to shut up about politics on YouTube. I'm not sure, or maybe it's just that after talking about politics for a while, you start to feel dirty. I do anyway. Maybe that's how she feels about it. Or maybe it's just a mix of all that stuff. I don't know. I don't particularly like talking about politics, but I get the feeling that I should state my opinion, that it's important to, because I think if we don't push back, we will lose the ability to push back. You know, to have calm discourse in our society. And at that point, if we lose that ability, we don't have a very pleasant way to respond to the people that are taking over our government. And in that vein, I was thinking about the bad people on this Red Tree Crimes channel, and thinking about the politicians that do absolutely terrible things to not just one or two people, but millions, if not billions of people at a time. You know what I'm talking about. Look at the corrupt Biden. You say, are they a cartel? They're not a legally elected administration. Most people know that. They were not honestly elected. They're interlopers. Look what they're doing. Look how they're destroying the world. The deep state wants to go to war with Russia for no reason. Well, I think the reason is that because they see Russia as the enemy of the globalists. That's what they see it. And I think that they see Ukraine as their bank account in some way. Or they're like their little launching pad, their foothold into Eastern Europe. And I don't mean just the United States, I mean the globalists too. Here's another really interesting act of the Biden administration. The bureaucracies are taking it upon themselves to do things that they have no right to do. They have no legal power to do it. They have no right to do it, but they're doing it anyway. The EPA has already been busted by it. The Consumer Product Division, they're attempting to do what the EPA was doing. For instance, trying to ban gas stoves and trying to ban emergency generators, believe it or not. If you don't know this is what these governments are trying to do. The latest is that they've shut down a lot of, maybe all of the Alaska oil leases. They shut them down for no reason. Well, okay, there is a reason. They're not working for us. If these bureaucrats and the Bidens were working for us, they would represent us and they would represent what we need to do as a nation to stay strong and to stay healthy and to stay true to our values. These people are shutting this country down. Everything that they do is just another switch they're throwing. And who benefits from that? Really, only the communists in this world benefit from that. Mainly, right now, China. Mainly China benefits from that. If they shut their competition down because they cannot compete, if they can shut us down, they can still win. And that's their goal. We're trying to live our lives. They're trying to take us over. They're trying to destroy us so that they can be the most powerful presence in this world. And as you know, if you're a communist, you don't believe in God, and you do believe that people are gods. So you will, if you're a communist, you have got to willingly submit to another person and play like and pretend they're God. And then no matter what that person does to you, you have to put up with it because they're God. And in most instances, if that person has any interaction with you that's negative, you're going to die. That's how it works. That's how it's always worked with communism. Communism is death. Communism is death to humanity. And communism is the driving force behind what the Bidens are doing, what the left is doing, the global warming hoax, the environmental hoax, bullshit. People need to understand this and push back. We are being illegally taken over, and the people that are illegally taking us over are using our own systems that we put in place so that our country would thrive and prosper. They are subverting those systems and turning them into systems to destroy our country and to eventually kill people. What do you think the population reduction is about? So when I talk about politics, I think it's more important than making money on YouTube, because I think that money is nice. Money, at some point, I mean, it's going to become awfully scarce, especially if we continue down the road they are pushing us down. But if we can correct this horrible abscess that is going on in our world against democracy, we can save the whole thing. There's no reason that we can't. But we have to stand up. Simply put, we have to stand up. And it's happening. I'm loving seeing cities, counties, and states tell the Biden administration to go fuck themselves. They're not going to put up with a mask mandate, and they're not going to put up with a vaccine mandate. Go fuck yourself. You want a vaccination, Biden and all you bureaucrats? Go ahead. Take your fucking vaccination and shove it up your fucking ass. I'm not taking it. It's nice to see that in London, in the ULEZ zone, what is it, Sadiq Khan, whatever the hell the mayor's name is, the communist that wriggled his way into power, into London, and is doing his best to turn England into a carbon neutral wasteland. The ULEZ cameras are 100% gone. Now there are other zones that they need to work on, and so Sadiq is sending out mobile cameras, vans, and the cops are attacking them now. They're writing them tickets. I do believe they need to stop them, pull them over, and impound their vehicles, take them away from Sadiq. So that is what's going on in England. In the Netherlands, in Denmark, in areas where farming is really being assaulted by the globalists, by the climate panic hoax people, by the net zero people, and by the extinction whatever people, they're fighting back. They're shutting down this push to shut their farms down and to kill animals, to stop food production. That is incredibly good. We need to do that everywhere. We need to do that everywhere in our society that these people are pushing. We need to stop them. Every bureaucrat that has taken it upon themselves to expand illegally their power to push leftist principles and destroy the bureaucracy that they're ahead of or that they're a part of in an attempt to destroy our democracy needs to be shut down. Everybody needs to be shut down. It's nice to see that in Arizona, election fraud is finally bubbling to the surface. In other places, they've successfully been able to temporarily quell the surge of fighting election fraud. I think that in Michigan, they've got some corrupt judges that have moved to keep election interference in place for the Democrats. But in Arizona, Maricopa County is getting their asses handed to them. And we'll have to wait and see how things transpire. But as the truth comes out, it is much harder for an individual judge to be a renegade and quash something before it's known, which is what they did in Michigan. We know about it, but the general population doesn't know about it. But they are starting to suspect it, that there was election fraud. Most people are, actually. I think actually 2/3 of the country right now believes there was election fraud in 2020 and 2022. The Second Amendment attack that the leftists have been ongoing continually is failing. Merrick Garland, that piece of crap, he is failing in his efforts to sneak around the Congress in order to put more gun control in place. And by the way, look at the beautiful scenery. It is becoming gorgeous. Now we'll continue. There are several cases up to be looked at by the Supreme Court that, if ruled in our favor, the favor of the Second Amendment, will keep the majority of the carnage that the leftists are trying to create. Well, we'll keep it from happening, and that's what we need. So directly ahead of us is Spicer Peak. Now this morning, I think I'll probably run this video all the way to Seymour Reservoir, which is on the north side of that peak that I just pointed out, Spicer Peak, which is an old volcanic cone. Or an old volcanic, I guess you call that a cone. Is that a cone or is that I can't think of the right term. A slug of lava that's inside of a cone, I guess. Maybe an outie, like a caldera, but an outie, not an innie. Something like that. Anyway, there are several states that have successfully been able to shut down election fraud, or they're working hard to shut it down. Colorado, sadly, is not one of those states, but it should be. We had the same shit happen in our state in 2020 and in 2022. But we are not as bad off as California, but the communists have got a pretty tight grip on our government right now. So, when I'm talking politics, I am defending the position of the majority of this country. That's what the left has tried to censor. That's why on my channel, when you look at my views, I get very few views. The only increase in views that I'll ever get will be if you subscribers recommend my channel to other people, like my content. I mean, you actively have to push it, because if you don't, it's not going to get out any further. Now, having said that, if every one of my subscribers does start pushing my channel like that, at some point, if YouTube hasn't woken up from their wokeness, they'll just cancel me. So maybe anonymity to a degree might be preferable. I reach very few people, but the people that I reach, if you agree with me, you know that there is a large network of people, regular people, that just want to see our country do what it should do, which is give the citizens of our country the very best chance to be whatever they can be. The best they can be, I'll put it that way. Maybe not whatever they can be. Although, I mean, we are a Christian nation. I know that rankles the left, but guess what? Fuck you, left. That doesn't sound very Christian-like, does it, for me to tell you to go fuck yourself? But I'm going to tell you, go fuck yourself. We're a Christian nation. That doesn't mean that everybody is going to bow their heads to you and let you get away with murder. That doesn't mean that. What it does mean is that we play by the rules and you don't. I'm talking about the left, of course. Because we believe in God, and we believe God is the creator of us and of this world, and that we are equal under God. Unlike you communists who latch on to some crackpot who says he's a god, and then you treat him like a god to the point of letting him run you into gas chambers and kill you. What do you think World War II was about? What do you think Hitler was? Hitler was a communist. What do you think Nazi stands for? And by the way, another little game that the left likes to play is they like to call conservatives fascist. Do you know what the actual meaning of fascism is? No? Well, I do. Fascism, the actual meaning of fascism is when the government and corporations and business get together to rule over the populace. So when we talk about fascism, let's just look back and let's look at our media. Who are the media rooting for? Let's look at social media. What is social media doing? YouTube is doing. Twitter apparently is still doing it. Well, formerly known as Twitter. They seem to be improved. I don't know. I hope they're improving. Facebook, they're all in on this stuff. And now that the election season is up on us, they're ramping their same bullshit back up. We are living in a fascist state. Make no mistake. What is happening in this country and in Europe and everywhere where Western values are present is fascism. That is government and business getting together to rule the people. So when you leftists scream about fascism and how Hitler was a fascist and all this bullshit, you're completely, totally wrong. Hitler was a communist, but he was also a fascist. Fascism and communism work together. Obviously, in a democracy where people have got the ability to do whatever they want to do, there will be corruption. Always going to be. I mean, there's always going to be evil in this world. That's That's how it has to be. But that doesn't mean that we have to choose to abide by it. We don't have to live with it. We don't have to put up with it. We can tell the left to go fuck themselves. And then we can make it happen. But we have to do that. Got to make it happen. Let's see here. This road is Jackson County Road 11A. This road is a shortcut to, I believe it's County Road 11, and it will take us to Seymour Reservoir, which is probably pretty crowded right now because hunting season is coming about, and this is a nice time to go camping regardless. Cold nights, warm days is our fall. This area is probably about 9,000 feet, maybe between 800 to 9,000 feet, maybe a little more. In the spring this year, there were columbines growing all through here, all through these little connector roads on the south side of North Park. Billions of columbines. It was beautiful here. And I wasn't able to really get it. I tried to film some of it, but I was having a hell of a time. Also keeping in mind my windshield quite dented and dinged up. Beautiful old homestead here. I think there are a couple of springs here. That tire right there is evidence of a spring, but the fact that there was a farmhouse here and that there is a lot of green grass here is pretty good evidence of a spring. And my guess is that with that volcano south of us, maybe that volcano spread over the top of some of the sedimentary area and made sort of a water storage or a water storing kind of structure. Maybe it's in the volcanic soil, maybe it's in the sedimentary soil, I don't know. But this is a pretty cool area. And I think we're on a big anticline in North Park because there is a whole lot of oil going on here, oil and gas. And happily, it's mainly on private property. So I'm glad to see that some of the local ranchers around here, landowners, are making some money and they're allowing oil production to continue. You know, there are workarounds for what these evil bastards are doing to us. And we are engaging. I'm seeing that happen. I'm glad to see it happen. It's people in many different areas, in many different fields, are coming together in thought and in action to stop the left's advance. The left's having a hard time putting that apostrophe on the left's. Yeah, I'm kind of vacillating between politics and what I know about this area. I would really love to see our country working properly, to see our government not corrupt as hell, to see our politicians working for us. I like Lauren Boebert. I think Lauren Boebert is a stand-up politician. Rand Paul might well be, but it's very tough to name very many people that are worth a shit. I find it extremely noxious that if you get elected to Congress, you have to immediately go fundraise. It is bullshit. That should not be happening. This political system needs to be fixed. I'm becoming a convention of states convert. I think that we probably do need a convention of states. And that is a way to stop our federal government in its tracks and reset it. So I'm feeling like we're getting closer to that. I find that that might be the way we need to do things. So I watched Jordan Peterson. I watch his posts on X, and I also watch a lot of the global warming, the people that are fighting the global hoax, and including me. So we're fighting back there also. And even though Twitter's CEO has said she's all for, I'm paraphrasing, she's all for cancel culture, she's just calling it by a different name. It's still reasonably fair on Twitter. But her idea is to just basically shadow ban everybody she doesn't like. She's calling it hate speech, hateful stuff, whatever. But we'll see. We'll see. I really do think that this year the global warming people have hurt themselves badly. And I don't think the UN has helped. And I think Elon owning Twitter has done us a great service. He's an interesting guy, though. He's kind of hard to pin down. But then why wouldn't he be, right? Okay, I'm gonna stop here. I will probably start filming later on, but if I don't, if you're going somewhere today, you take care. Here we are at Seymour Reservoir. Take a little break, clean my windows, break my coffee out. And y'all take care. We'll see you next time. Bye.